welcome to my top 25 movies of the 1980s. This was a pretty hard list to come up with, and I could have easily come up with a top 100 because basically if I look at my top favorite movies of all time, I would say 80s movies comprise like 60% of it. So, that's the time period that I graduated from high school. It's the time when I was going to the most movies. So, I have a special place for the 80s. And I personally believe that the 80s is the greatest decade of all time when it comes to movies. So many things were established in the 80s, such as trilogies and the action movie, martial arts movies. I mean, you'd never seen any of that really before in the scale that it was brought in the 80s. And what the 80s did is it just carried forward the movie industry. And it's too bad that it's kind of reverted in the modern times. But anyway, we're not here to talk about modern movies. We're here to talk about 80s movies. And also, I think that your list of top 25 movies is kind of determined by the genre that you like. Obviously, I mean, if you're a horror movie fan, you're going to have a lot of horror movies. If you're a drama fan, you're going to have a lot of drama. So, you'll see that I'm pretty much action, sci-fi, those types of veins there, martial arts. So you'll see that in my top 25. If I could do a more comprehensive list, it would really show more. But because I had to narrow it down to 25, it's kind of hard. But anyway, I just want to get right into the lists. And I probably won't talk about the movies a whole ton because I don't want this video to be too long. So anyway, up at number 25, Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport. This just came out on 4K overseas, but just one of the greatest martial arts movies of all time. I know Enter the Dragon is one that people consider the benchmark, but for me in the 80s, Bloodsport was the number one martial arts movie. So coming in at 25 on my list. Coming in at 24, Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Got a little sci-fi, got action, got a little horror in here. So yeah, it just mixes a lot of genres, but I love how the characters, they each have their own individual styles. You get to know each and every one of them along the way. And of course the Predator, has his own character and you get to know him as well. So this movie is just fantastic the way it's written. I think it's from the director of Die Hard, if I'm not mistaken, but I could be wrong on that. Coming in at 23, we have E.T., just a complete classic all the way around. If you were saying Steven Spielberg, one movie that comes to the top of the list is E.T., I think. I think it's his greatest movie, and, it's phenomenal. I can watch this any time of the day, pick up at any point of it. And again, it's a family sci-fi, kind of movie. So I'm into that big time. All right, coming in at number 22, my favorite comedy of all time, which I'm not a big comedy fan, but Beverly Hills Cop does it for me because of the action. And, I'm just a huge Eddie Murphy fan. I've got a lot of Eddie Murphy movies, and I love his stand-up performances just by themselves. And, the music in it, I mean, it's just amazing if you haven't seen Beverly Hills Cop. Coming in at number 21, Purple Rain. Basically, this was Prince's autobiography in a way. And Albert Magnolia, I don't remember exactly the director's name, but he did a phenomenal job just being handed this late. And of course, Apollonia is amazing in it. The Time, his big rival, is amazing in it. And not only is it a good movie for music, because Prince is phenomenal, and so is The Time and everybody else in it, but it's just written well. It's a very good movie. I love the story, the hero comeback story of Prince. I mean, it's just, if you haven't checked out Purple Rain, you need to. And coming in at number 20, War Games. This one probably should have been higher on my list. It influenced me in what kind of job I got. I'm a computer guy, so this definitely influenced me, and I was just amazed at the performance of Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy in this movie. And, the story is just, it's even relevant today, the nuclear war, the chance of it, computer getting hacked into, all that's relevant today. Granted, the way that it was done back then, the computers were older, but it's still the same concept of today. and it's still relevant today. And Dabney Coleman's awesome in this movie. But anyway, for this list, it comes in at number 20. Coming in at number 19, it's Rambo First Blood, Sylvester Stallone. You know, what can you say about this movie? You know, Stallone was just getting into shape at this point, kinda. He didn't really have the rippling muscles that he would have here in a year or two. But just the story of this one, you know, it's based on a true story. I can't remember the guy that wrote the book, Morrell maybe, but the atmosphere of where it takes place up in Canada, I just love the environment that it's in, and it's just perfect for Rambo to be in. Anyway, First Blood, coming in at number 18. Is it 18? Yeah, 18, Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is a lot higher on a lot of people's lists, and, you know, I actually put Temple of Doom above it, but that's just my opinion. But anyway, you know, I recognize Raiders for what it is, and it was just a great adventure action story. And, you know, getting to know Indiana Jones, and, you know, the first time watching this at the movie theater, it was just blow me away. You know, it really did. And again, this could be in my top 10 at different times. Coming in at number 17, it's the Temple of Doom. More action in this one, and more, you know, gritty, you would say. Kind of more, you know, a little more hardcore on the horror side. But, you know, I just like the pace of the movie. You just get Indy just kicking butt left and right. And, you know, it just really, you know, checked all my boxes, you know what I'm saying? But I love Temple of Doom. Coming in at number 16, Die Hard. And granted, this is the movie pack that it comes in, but Die Hard set the pace for the modern action movie. Gosh, I remember watching this at the movies and just being really thrilled. I mean, edge of the seat. John McClane fell in love with his character. Bruce Willis, you know, I'd seen him in Moonlighting, but, you know, never in this kind of role. But, I mean, he made the perfect action star in this movie. And then the villain that plays this movie, he's phenomenal. 40 stories of sheer terror. Is that what it used to say on the poster? Amazing, amazing movie. That could be in my top 10 as well. Coming in at number 15, Rocky IV. One of the best movie experiences I've ever had. Everybody had seen all the previous Rockies. Everybody was cheering left and right for this movie. Everybody was hanging on every line. Just the whole Ivan Drago, you know, him killing Apollo Creed and Rocky coming back. I mean, with Duke as his manager. But, I mean, Rocky IV is the pinnacle of Rocky movies. And it's Russia against the United States. And you know, that we're headed that way again. But anyway, I love Rocky IV. And coming in at number 14, Top Gun with Tom Cruise. What can you say, Maverick here? Love the new one, but nothing beats the original for me. Maverick, Goose, and Iceman, all those guys, you know, you got to know them all. And then the guy that run the ship there for Maverick, he's just funny as all get back. But it's right up my alley. This is just, you know, great stuff, you know. Coming in at number 13, The Phenomenon, Ghostbusters. This was so talked about back in the day. Everybody thought there could be ghosts, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, just a funny movie. Action, horror in a way. You know, very tongue-in-cheek horror. But, anyway, I love me some Ghostbusters. Coming in at number 12, it's Return of the Jedi, Star Wars. You know, this was the third in the trilogy. Wrapped up the whole thing very well. You know, I want to get the original uncut version. I don't like George Lucas's cut versions. But still, for what it is, Return of the Jedi comes in at number 13 on my list. Coming in at number 12 on my list is Return of the Jedi. Number 11 is Back to the Future Part 2. And, you know, I bet Back to the Future's later on. Just a phenomenal sequel. Really brings you back to the original movie. And the way they were able to do it, it's just amazing. Biff, you know, and all the gang are back. And, you know, this is just one of the best sequels, you know, ever made, in my opinion. along with this one that's coming up. And my number 10, we're going into the top 10. And we have Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, the greatest Star Trek movie ever made. Yes, I said it. My favorite television show of all time is the 60s Star Trek. And when we got this movie, we got what the original series felt like on the big screen. And they hit a home run with this, Paramount did. And the rivalry between Kirk and Khan is just so unprecedented. I had a great time at the movie with this as well. Everybody had seen the original series. Everybody knew all the characters, and so it was just packed house. And Star Trek II really just blew me away. I didn't expect Spock to die, and that really set up my anticipation for the third one. So anyway, great movie. Coming in at number 9, The Karate Kid. How many lines did we say from this movie today? But, just a phenomenal underdog story. It's from the director of Rocky, the award-winning Rocky. And, Mr. Miyagi and Ralph Macchio do a phenomenal job. And so does the guy that plays Johnny. Again, without him, the movie wouldn't work. And, of course, Kreese is amazing in this. The karate master who teaches the Cobra Kai. But, the Karate Kid is just a part of pop culture. It always will be, and it's just a phenomenal movie. And this one coming in at number 8 isn't going to be a surprise, but it's my martial arts thing coming through. And when you try to class this movie, it's action, it's martial arts, it's all kinds of stuff. But Ninja 3, The Domination. Lucinda Dickey from Breaking. But it has Sho Kosugi in it, and if you are a martial arts fan, you know who Sho Kosugi is. And the black ninja that plays in this thing is just phenomenal in terms of his ninja skills. But even just the opening scene of this, just hooks you right in. And if you haven't seen Ninja 3, give this thing a shot. Great action movie, great ninja movie, great martial arts, just a mixture of all. And I think it was ahead of its time, but it's a great movie. I know Quentin Tarantino likes this movie. Up at number 7, we got another Lucinda Dickey, and it's Breaking, the underdog story about breakdancing. And, this was a phenomenon in my school because everybody was learning to break dance, myself included. You wouldn't think I would, but I did. And anyway, this kind of like a flash dance story, just the comeback story, kind of remind in the same vein as Purple Rain in a way. But I love Breaking. Coming in at number 6, we have Schwarzenegger, The Terminator. And, of course, Terminator 2 is my favorite movie of all time, but it come out in the 90s, so I can't put it in this list. But anyway, this scared me to death. First time I seen it in 84. I thought that the Terminator was just, I did not expect him to be that real and scary. And, I was really on the edge of my seat for this movie. And then when the end of it come along, the Terminator kept coming back. Wow. Come on. It don't get any better sentiment than that. Written by James Cameron, of course. And, I've got more Cameron coming up in a minute. Be ready for it. Coming in at number 5, it's Commando. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Probably the greatest pure action movie ever made. I've got one ahead of it, but anyway, Commando's phenomenal. I can sit and watch this all night, on repeat, no problem. How many people get killed in this thing? And how many different ways? Schwarzenegger is in the shape of his life. I don't think I've ever seen him look so good in a movie as he does in Commando. And, if you want pure action from start to finish, this movie is for you. And I can't say how good this movie is. Coming in at number 4 is a James Cameron penned movie with Stallone, Rambo First Blood Part 2. And I consider this the greatest action movie of all time. Rambo First Blood Part 2. Oh, wow. You talk about a phenomenon. Ronald Reagan talked about it. Rambo going back to Vietnam. The sequel to First Blood, which was a great movie in itself. And just the way this movie is done, the way he kills people, the way his story's written, the climax to the end. Oh, love me some Rambo First Blood Part 2. Now, coming in at number 3, The Empire Strikes Back, Star Wars. The greatest saber fit scene ever between Luke and Vader. What can you say about Empire Strikes Back? When I went into my local TV shop, they had this as a demo on their latest equipment. Even then, Star Wars was cutting edge. You've got everybody back for this sequel from the first one, and Lucas just had more of a budget, rocked it out of the park. One of the greatest sequels ever made, and it's, you know, generally considered one of the greatest movies of all time by many people. So, you know, just the snow scene, you can think of all the scenes in this movie. The asteroid scene, I mean, you can't beat Empire Strikes Back. Number 2 on my list, Back to the Future. My sister took me to see this in the movie theater. I was blown away. The ending was so suspenseful. Getting to know all these characters. I love the 50s as a time period. So the fact that he got to go back and see his parents and interfere with history, and just the whole way the time thing was done, it's so believable. Doc Brown is so believable. The time travel story is so believable. It's funny. It's action-packed. It's an adventure. It's one of the greatest movies of all time. Back to the Future. Coming in at number 1, James Cameron. Not his masterpiece, but his second masterpiece, and it's Aliens. Oh, so good. Action, sci-fi, horror, adventure. Talk about story writing. Cameron nailed this movie. All the characters have their own unique story, and you get to know every single one of them, from Ripley to Burke to Hicks to Vasquez, I mean, all the guys in this movie, all the guys and gals in this movie, you get to know each and every one of them. Little Nude even has her own story. Ripley with her backstory from the original Aliens. Cameron did everything right on this movie, and it's the greatest movie from the 80s, in my opinion. And if you want something that has it all in terms of writing, characters, character development, action, it's even got some comedy. Bill Paxton, I mean, the guy nails the role. I mean, how can you, I mean, there's so many great things about, even the Alien has its own story in this movie. Cameron's masterpiece, but along with Terminator 2. So, you know, if I had a 90s list, it would be Terminator 2, of course, and the greatest of all time. And the greatest on my all-time list is Terminator 2 and Aliens, period. But anyway, Aliens, the best movie from my list. So that concludes my list. Got a huge stack over here and got to put all these back up. But anyway, just wanted to shoot this video. And so until my next video, I'll be back.